Hey people, today I'm showcasing to you my build. Stormwave and Herald of Thunder Chayula monk build. It's completely ethical and it's patch proof. I'm currently using it pretty comfortably in red maps. This map showcases tier 11. I'm comfortable around tier 12. I've gone a bit higher. It feels good. I don't know. The gear is pretty cheap. Sorry about the lack of sound from the game. I'm just gonna put some music on. I don't know what happened. My OBS shit itself. So yeah, there's no sound from the game. Sorry about that. But yeah, gotta be some music. Gotta showcase the build. I'm gonna give you some tips. Gonna explain everything. I'm not gonna yap too much about it. Also, I'm not gonna give leveling tips because leveling for me was pretty rough, so I'm not gonna give advice on that either. But I'm gonna give some tips on ascending. Gonna give some tips on sustaining waystones that I found pretty rough. Yeah, let's get into it. Maybe you'll like playing it as well. The build basically is Shockwave as a ranged attack to shock enemies and deal damage to them. Then we empower it further with Herald of Thunder. I find it really good for clearing. For bossing it's good, don't expect to one-shot a boss. The fights usually take me like 20-30 seconds on average, so it's not some like unethical Giga Chat bossing build with 1,000 comets from the sky, but like hey, it works for me. I don't know, I find it good, so I like it. We use Orb of Storms as well. We apply exposures to lightning and withered enemies, but I don't typically use it during regular fights and clearing enemies, so it's mostly it's a one button, but sometimes you have to press a few more. But I promise it's not like a piano build, okay? It's actually very manageable. I'm running some curses as well. There's one curse that applies lightning, I mean it's conductivity, and then there's enfeeble, so one curse to deal more damage, one curse to the other curse to deal to take less damage depending on the situation. I'm not running a keystone that helps you apply two curses, but you can do that as well. So overall, not completely one button build, but mostly that's how it feels, and yeah, I recommend it. I'm playing Acolyte of Chayula because it's cool. I like collecting flames and handicapping myself by playing a weaker ascendancy. Just for no reason whatsoever. You can play Invoker if you want. You can play Acolyte of Chayula. It does have benefits. I think it's a bit weaker than Invoker, but it's completely fine. So you're gonna be fine playing either, depending on your preference. If you have a ready Invoker that is broken because of a nerf, feel free to use this build. I'm 100% sure it's gonna work and maybe work even better. And yeah. Alright, here we're getting to the bossing part of the footage. Basically the bossing process is very simple. You put Orb of Storms, you cast Conductivity. You can cast Enfeeble as well, depending how you feel about the boss, and then you just hold right mouse button. You dodge boss attacks, and then you recast Conductivity. You can see the curses underneath the boss name. As you can see, the DPS is completely fine. It's not like a Giga Chat boss destroyer, but like it's not too shabby either, so I like it. It's fine, works for me. Honestly, I haven't watched any footage of other people doing many bosses. I watched DS Lily one-shot a boss with Deadeye, but I know Deadeye is busted, so I'm assuming this is fine because it feels fine for me. As I said, boss fights take like 20-30 seconds, so you can surely do them. They're very manageable. I mean, this is a tier 12 boss, so if it was like tier 3, it would just get pretty much one shot. Alright, first of all, let me just talk about the skills I'm using on supports. That's the most important bit for the fucking playing the game. First of all, quarter stuff, strike, I'm not using that. I have it. Into the breach, I have clarity, vitality, precision. I don't have any reasoning besides it's good, and that's like the only things that I could put on it. So I just have it running. But I mean, they're good support for Stormwave, so that's the main skill we're using. We're having conduction. More chance to shock is good. You could play around there and you could replace it with some other support gem. Perhaps it's not as important. I was using cast and shock prior to making this video today, but I had to switch the build, so now I still have the gem. I think it's still good because it helps proc Herald of Thunder more, but you could play around and you could substitute it. Perhaps you'll get more DPS out of it. I have martial tempo, so that's just more attack speed. I mean, it's straightforward. A lightning penetration, also straightforward. And then we have lightning infusion. It's a lightning skill. Lightning infusion helps to deal more damage. less cold and fire, we don't care about that because we don't do that. Orb of Storms, so I was using cast and shock, and that was kind of essential for it. It's a bit less essential, but practically when you're fighting something, you just put it on, and it does two things. It inflicts lightning exposure, which is good, and then it inflicts Withering Touch. Now, lightning exposure on shocking an enemy, we also have more chance to inflict ailments. This adds 8 seconds to cooldown, but there's not actually a problem because this lasts for 10 seconds anyways, so it's completely fine. Conductivity helps because I mean, it reduces lightning resistance of enemies that you curse, so I mean, it's self-explanatory. We have focused curse, so that reduces their the delay they have, and it just helps make it feel nicer. And then strip away, I don't think that actually works on this one, so you just substitute it with something else. I just forgot to remove it before recording this video. Maybe it works, that's good, but yeah, I forgot. Just replace it with something else, sorry about that. And we have heightened curse. This works, and this increased effect, self-explanatory again. I have enfeeble. Why I have enfeeble is because if you have a particularly rippy mob or boss, this is good because you put enfeeble instead, and then you have more chance of surviving. If something is very rippy, I don't use it often, but it's just good to have in the tool arsenal, because if it happens, it happens. You can also put temporal chains. I think that's another very good curse for like rippy situations, just to help you survive more. The more you survive, the more a chance you have to sustain the void stones as well. Now we have Herald of Thunder. That's the star of the show. So every time you kill a shocked enemy, you get this thing, and this thing boosts your subsequent attacks. By default, it's 3 attacks, but with quality it goes up to 5. And the boost is 200% of attack damage as lightning. That's absolutely insane. What I have on it is, honestly, I haven't played around with it. It's just like a setup I found that works and I'm happy with. But you can play around with it. I have inevitable critical, so this increases the critical hit chance. Now, this is a bit bad on Herald of Thunder, because I mean, Herald of Thunder works quite often, but I still find it's fine, and it increases my DPS on the tooltip quite a lot. So I mean, I just put it. You can substitute it. You can play around with it. It's just fine. Just showing you what works for me. But I'll probably replace it in like a day or 2 as well. Anyways, it works. So super critical, self-explanatory. So increase critical damage bonus, but less critical hit chance. We increase critical hit chance with this gem. We increase critical damage bonus with this gem. It's quite nice. And then we have coursing current, so shocking hits have a 50% chance to also shock enemies. So this helps with clearing. I think it's quite nice, but you can replace it with something like lightning mastery. Play around with it. This is not like a, for this skill you can also like play around with support gems. So there's some skills for which, like Orb of Storms, I don't recommend substituting, but for this one it's just fine. Yeah, that's for the skill setup. Basically, yeah, just use Storm Wave, and then sometimes you cast Conductivity or Enfeeble, and Orb of Storms as well. It's nice to have sometimes. Let's go for the passive skill tree. So what I have here, I mean, I'm not really gonna explain every single bit of detail as well. You can kind of play around with it a lot. This is just the setup that I ended up using. Yeah, there's some recoup. I like these nodes because they help me survive. I've also taken the nodes here. Look, I'm not gonna go for 10 minutes explain everything here, because there isn't really anything that complicated here. I don't think there's like a single keystone or interesting interaction really. There's a lot of lightning damage nodes, as you can see, and also I'd take like energy shield nodes and evasion nodes. Explanatory, as I said, recoup. This recoup is very nice, increased speed of recoup effects. So recoup is 8 seconds down PoE2. This makes it like what, like 6 seconds. Quite nice. Yeah, like just attack damage. I have a jewel as well. Yeah, I mean, very understandable thing. This is I think I'm level 81 now, or 80. So that's the passive tree for a level 80. Now, while you're leveling, you might find a different setup that works, and while you're leveling as well, you might want to pick up fewer defensive nodes as well. That is completely fine. This kind of like the end game setup for you to strive towards, and that I found working for me. But for example, these nodes are quite far away. You could reach them via this. You could also take this cluster while leveling. Especially this is quite nice as well. I might take it later as well because it's quite a good node. But also there's lightning damage nodes here that you can take while you're leveling. They're just closer, so they're gonna give you a bigger bang for your buck. Resistance as well, so these nodes penetrate lightning resistance. That's why I ended up taking. There's energy shield nodes that are quite nice while leveling as well that I found. Critical damage bonus and strike chance. I don't think you should take this while leveling, but I mean, if you want, you can. I probably wouldn't. Just go for elemental damage. Take some energy shield. These nodes are also nice. This gives you a lot of attack speed. This gives you a lot of attack damage. So hey, I recommend taking them as well. I might take them in the future myself. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no rocket science here. So yeah, that's the tree. We don't have like a PoE Ninja or whatever exploit right now, so you'll have to take it from video. Sorry about that, but yeah, hope it works. Discuss the ascendancy. So I've taken the Acolyte of Chayula. I think invoker is probably better overall objectively. I can't exactly explain to you which nodes for invoker to take and stuff like that, because I looked at the ascendancy tree quite some time ago, so I don't remember. But anyways, I've taken Chayula. Chayula Monk is overall, the problem is there isn't really like synergy that you have. Like invoker has synergy with meta skills. We don't have synergy. Invoker has meta skills. It has elemental synergy. Chayula doesn't have any synergy, so it's kind of scuffed in some ways. But there's also some nice things. I'm making it work. But hey, if you want to go invoker, I'm not gonna stop you. It's probably better. Anyways, my Chayula Monk got into the breach, and then we also doubled the effect and duration. Self-explanatory, so into the breach is gonna spawn the flames, and I've also taken as my third ascendancy the 10 to max chaos rest, and chaos rest is doubled. Now, this effectively means that your chaos rest is gonna be very, very high. You can take it to 85%, and that's very, very good while mapping. So the further you get into the game, the more chaos damage is going to be a problem. Is the case in PoE1? I'm not like I don't think we have exact data mined right now on how much this is the case in PoE2. I found it helped tremendously to get chaos resistance, so I recommend you do as well. And this chaos resistance is doubled, effectively allows you to get 40 chaos res, and then you have 80 of it. It's very, very busted, so effectively it reduces the gear requirements and how expensive they are. Now, when you only have 2 ascendancies, and this is gonna take you quite a while to get the third one perhaps, which ones to take is up to you. I've done this node, so I've just taken into the breach and doubled the duration. You could take into the breach, maybe try chaos rest, but I don't know. I'm just used to maxing in endgame, so I'm not sure. These nodes, I found them a bit lacking, so yeah, I'm not sure. They should give you some extra damage. In my case, I kind of found it meh, so yeah. These nodes are they're not good. I don't think they're good. I don't know how to make them work. How to make them good. I haven't like theory crafted. I just glanced at it. Flames of Chayula give you mana leech. So that makes it instant. It kind of synergizes, but also I don't know. It's not really that big of a deal. Maybe if you're going like Mom, if you're going like Mom and your mana stacking, this could be good because then you could sustain it easier. But then you have to pick up Flames of Chayula for your Mom to work. And I don't know, it's a bit weird. So I'm just not going to discuss this entire cluster. So look, this build relies on Herald of Thunder, and this node, I haven't experimented with it. I never took it, but the way I read it, it removes Soul Spirit. It doesn't replace Spirit with Darkness. It just removes it. I don't want to fucking do that. it sounds bad. It sounds scuffed. My build relies on spirit things, so you know, yeah, not good. But yeah, basically, I recommend taking this cluster, and then the third one, take this one. The fourth one, take this extra chaos damage, or you can take mana leash. You can experiment with both. I mean, at that point, respecking is quite cheap for the ascendancy nodes. But to summarize, you don't have to go chayula. As a matter of fact, I think going invoker is probably better. So yeah, you can do both. I probably recommend invoker from what I've heard, but maybe chayula is gonna get a buff. And also there is some benefits to going to chayula, so I mean, you could do it, you could consider it. It works just fine. Now I'm quickly going to discuss gear. So yeah, I had capped res. I don't have capped res now. I don't know what happened to my cold actually. I went to Discord to ask about it because I leveled and it went down by 10%. I have no idea, guys. But yeah, anyways, I have capped res pretty much. I'm gonna get 85 KOs right after recording this. As for my gear, I have this. I mean, there isn't like anything crazy. I mean, this weapon I got for like 5x. Basically, I just have like life and dual arrest on my gear. I try to go for some evasion rating and energy shield. There's literally nothing interesting. Just basically get your resistances, get your life, get your energy shield and evasion to a state that resembles mine. Try to go for both of those. And on top of that, I mean, mana regen is quite essential, so you want to have a good amount of mana recovery per second. The more the better, but obviously there's a drop off, so yeah, beware of that. Apart from that, yeah, literally, I mean, I have very cheap gear. Most of this was bought for like a few X, so there's absolutely nothing fancy here at all. Just consider this like a starter kind of build, gear-wise. Very quick one, how you get ascendancy, the third one. So there's a wiki. There's a thing confirmation needed, but it worked for me. I did a level 65 trial of Zekimus that was 3 floors, and I got my ascendancy from that. My recommendation for the third trial is you want to have honor resistance, and that means you're gonna have to do a few of these trials. Honestly, they're not too bad. They also drop time loss jewels. I don't know, just do it, you know. don't complain about it. It took me a few hours, but I got through it, and yeah, it was fine. The bosses and the trials are very easy, like their attacks are very telegraphed, they're easy to dodge. Before doing a boss, yeah, you know, you don't have to if you don't want spoilers, but you can watch a video. The bosses have like a few attacks only that you might want to know about. But even if you don't, they're so easy, there's no like gotcha, you know, mechanics. So yeah, but yeah, that's how you ascend, keep in mind. And the 4th ascension I haven't got yet. Alright, I'm gonna give some tips for sustaining waystones and just endgame in general, and I'm gonna show you my atlas tree. There's videos on this already, so I'm not gonna give you any like rocket science. So your waystones. What you want to do if possible is alchemy them, or you can also do augmentation. You can do transmute, aug, and then regal it. Now, if you're gonna decide to go the regal route, keep in mind that the thing you want to have on it is you want to have the see this thing waystone drop chance as high as possible. And sometimes when you regal, you get the wrong affix, and because of that, the drop chance doesn't go down. So basically, what I'm saying, if possible, alchemy it, don't regal it. But if you must, just regal it. You have to do it. Exalting it, I probably wouldn't recommend unless you really have to, but don't run white waystones. You probably will have issues sustaining them. Second thing, Doriani sells waystones. This is very good early game. Just don't buy a tier 5 waystone, for example, when you don't know if you can do it comfortably. Don't waste them. First, like, start running tier 1 comfortably, tier 2. What I did was my mistake. I bought tier 5, tried running it, failed. The inventory on this vendor refreshes every time you level, so it can be quite a while. And then also it costs quite a bit of gold, so keep in mind. But this guy will always have waystone tier 1 in case you need them. Second thing that is essential in sustaining waystones, So you complete the missions that Doriani gives you to complete tier 1, tier 2, etc. maps, and then you get Atlas skill points. Now, there's a few essential things to do here. The first thing, so this is my 16-point Atlas tree. If you have only a few, I recommend going up here first. So waystones found have a chance to be a tier higher. This really helps starting to drop like tier 2, you know, if you're running tier 1, start to drop tier 2, tier 3, etc, etc. Then teaming horde is quite nice, but what I recommend you do, after you get through your tier 2 or tier 3, ideally you should have some nodes here, and then you really want this node, constant crossroads, increases quantity of waystones found in your maps. This is extremely good for you know, dropping more waystones. This makes sense. I like this node as well, you know, quantity and rarity. I really like the rare monster nodes. Why? Because they buff them, they now drop a lot more loot. That's good. It helps you sustain. So basically, I think you want to juice rare mobs from what I understand. And yeah, another thing is what you want to do on your map device. You wanna go for these towers, and you wanna tap on the tower. You wanna put a tablet in it, so that's a precursor tablet. First of all, transmute and augment it, then put it in, tap influence, and it's gonna influence your maps. I prefer the ones they irradiate. I don't try not do the ritual altars unless you really must, unless it's really good, because irradiating increases the monster level, and this is very good for loot, for leveling, etc. It's just good for a lot of things. And the most important tip I have, this has been said before as well, so it's not rocket science, but try find maps on the Atlas that have a boss in them. So a boss looks like this. And then when you do the boss, try use the highest waystone that you have and that you can comfortably run. Now, look, if you have a tier 6 waystone, but normally you run tier 2 and you kind of struggle, don't do it. Just run a tier 2 probably, unless you're very confident you can do it, because wasting a waystone is bad. Dying is bad. That's gonna set you back a lot. But yeah, basically you want to use the highest tier waystone you have on the boss. That's just a lot better for loot, and it's gonna help you sustain. And yeah, that's the tips for sustaining waystones and just the end game in general. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, whatever to discuss, leave it in the comments. This is not a finished, this is not a polished build. This is just what I'm using, and I know a lot of people had their builds nerfed, so they're struggling to find something new. This really works quite well. So maybe if your build has been nerfed, try this out. I don't imagine respeccing into it is going to be particularly expensive either if you're used to doing something like custom critical, custom shock, invoker. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good time using this build. And yeah, see you later.